Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Good evening. This is Angel and your host today. Welcome to Beyond Charts. All right, the week ahead prep. All right, the week ahead prep. All right, so Sunday, February 6th is about 9:30. So for those of you that are watching it maybe a little later, this is pre-recorded at 9:30. So just want to discuss what transpired the week ahead and what to expect moving forward. So we got a busy week coming up ahead. I'm just going to go in here with you and kind of share this. So if you look to your right or left, wherever you guys are looking, on my Twitter account, I always post the dates of what you should be looking forward for the week ahead. So basically another big week in macroeconomics. And right off the news front, what we can tell is that, again, we have another, Fed Mester speaks on the economic and policy outlook. Remember, inflation is still on the table. The red hikes. And even though I did some deep dive today and it doesn't look like, I don't know, it can go either way. Nobody really knows. The Fed really hasn't stopped buying. They said they're going to stop buying. They haven't really stopped buying equities yet. So at least that's what we saw in the last reports. So it'll be interesting to see what they say on February 9th. At 12 o'clock. And I think that, and we also have another number. We also have we also have crude oil inventories on Wednesday, which is going to be big. So watch if you're in, any. It should impact any oil stocks like XOM or CVX, or XLE. And remember, these stocks have been holding up the S&P 500. So if there is a decline there, then we could probably see a major shift going into Wednesday or Thursday in the overall markets. Okay. And on Thursday, most important, and this is like the big one, we have CPI 8:30 in the morning. So Friday, U.S. Michigan sentiment. So pretty heavy macro week. So really don't expect anything until Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday and Thursday is when you're probably going to see some major moves in the S&P 500. Okay, so something to look forward to. And keep your eye on it. It'll be a mover. So if you want to trade equities or looking for a trade, there will be a big move I see in the overall markets based on that information right there. All right. If we go back as far as going into earnings this week, we still have another big week, right? And not as big as last week, but still big enough. We have a few heavy hitters that could move the market. We have Hasbro. There's a couple here. We have Harley Davidson, Peloton. And Peloton, there were some talks of them being bought out, and that was whispered. I don't know. It came out on Bears. I can't remember who it was, but let's see what that's going to come out on Friday. Chipotle is going to be a big one. This will move. It's a mover. So if you're looking for something that moves pretty dramatically, CMG would be one. And we'll see what they have to say. They missed last quarter, if I don't stand corrected, and we'll confirm that with you. We have Twilio, we have Uber, we have Disney on Wednesday. Sonos, not a big deal. Mattel, Honda, So again, what else do we have? The ones that we can look at is Affirm and Twitter, and these will be the big ones for Friday after the close. Twitter might be a big one. All right. So again, that has been suppressed quite a bit, and also under new management, that might be moving. Expedia might be one as far as like if this Omicron is finally over, then they were talks this weekend in Barron's and a lot of the financial news that the we could go back into full recovery. So that's on the table. That's whispered. That's out there. Friday we have Under Armour. So again, the market could go either way. There's still this inflation news out there. And again, we are about 110% to GDP, pretty far up there. So something needs to happen pretty soon. But again, we just trade movers. I'm just kind of giving the information, and we'll see what the levels are. So let's go into this thing, and let's dive into the overall markets. I want to share this with you. I kind of was doing some deep dive. This is unusual whales. They do, order flow and all that. I really don't use order flow, but some people like it. It looks like it gives them a nice edge. If you just look at the price action, you'll see the order flow. And I personally know a lot of these guys who are the order flow, right? So anyway, but pretty interesting here as far as the Senate trades. Ralph E. Cruz interestingly bought BTC back on the 25th of January. He filed on the 4th, and BTC is up. So anyway, this is a nice little order flow if you want to just check there. If you just want to go to see, anyway, you just go to disclosures, disclosures / clerk.house.gov, and you can go in there and research it yourself. For instance, I just researched Nancy Pelosi and see all her trades that she did for 2022. Actually, she did some trades before the year ends, but actually she just sold some of her Apple shares, and then she donated that to the Paul F. Pelosi Endowed Fund at Georgetown University, and then her own Trinity College. So she's made some good money on those funds, and then she donated those shares to those endowments. All right. So that's one way you can look at it. The other two is here. You can go to SEC.report, and it's the latest Senate stock disclosures. And you can go in there and see Ralph E. Cruz, BTC, and anybody who is in the Senate, and you can see what their shares, what they bought and sold is there. They're supposed to disclose it. This is where, if they have disclosed it, it should be here, and this is something you can do on your own if you want. Okay. As far as Barron's, again, the biggest news is going to be on the biggest news is just going to be on the, what the Fed is going to say. Is it going to spook the markets again? So in the overall markets, what we're looking at here, we're looking at the SPX, NDX, and Russell. We're still declining, guys. We broke the 50 pretty far away, came back to retest the 50 here. The MACDs, these are going to be delayed, so they are coming up. Let's see if it has enough strength, or is it going to come back down? We held pretty good. We're holding that 200-day moving average at 4443. That's going to be a level of interest moving forward. The NASDAQ could not hold above the 200-day moving average, so let's see what happens there. And the Russell is just way below the 200-day moving average and the 50. Okay, so watch it right there. As far as like what these things look like on a weekly basis, let me just zoom this out and kind of give you a broader perspective of what this looks like here. So again, this is the XPX. The XPX, remember, this is the weeklies, and it loves to touch the 50-day moving average. Now, we did get a bounce ending the week. This is a bounce, but is there going to be follow through? As far as the MACD, it's telling me that no, there's not going to be follow through, and they're at jeopardy of breaking at 43.74. So if we break that, that's a possibility we're going to retest the lows of 4222. That's a pretty big level. If that's going to happen, don't know. Let's see. And let's see. We have big numbers that is going to move the market. Probably by, I would suspect, Wednesday or Thursday, we're going to see a break, right? Up until Monday, Tuesday, I'm kind of noticing that we're probably going to get some sideways consolidation action. But for the most part, I think that is what we're going to be looking at. I think key levels we're going to be looking at on the S&P 500, and I'll tell you right now. Let's look at what the monthly looks like. Monthly is about to break, and again, we have another 30 days. If this starts breaking, then this is going to show me weakness, and it's probably heading down. 4222 is a big one. This is monthly, so we have another about 20-something days left. But if we start breaking that for the month, then more than likely we're probably going to head down to that 50-day moving average, which is 3336. Now, is it going to happen? Don't know. I'm just giving you the levels. This is monthly. So remember, this is month. So that takes about 6 months if that happens. Is it going to happen? Don't know, but watch the MACDs is losing momentum. Now, on the dailies, what are the levels moving forward? Well, like I said, key levels I'm going to be watching this week is going to be 45.36 on the upside and 44.50 on the downside. Again, so 45.36 is going to put me right in here, right in there. Okay, and then the 45.50 is going to put me right at the bottom here. So this is what the key levels are going to be looking at these last 2 days of consolidation. Again, so I think what's going to happen, and I'm not sure, but this is what I'm going to start prepping. Those are the key levels I'm going to be looking for a break. Either we're going to break down to retest the lows here, or a break up to retest maybe the highs of 4,600. Okay, so that's key levels right there that we're looking at for the S&P 500, and I think it's probably going to move maybe on Wednesday. Remember, the Fed guy speaks at 12 o'clock. Okay, so that's Eastern time. The NASDAQ will follow suit. Let's see if does the NASDAQ have enough juice? A lot of the FANGs already announced. Who else will move the markets or move the NASDAQ? So again, we had the bonds up a little bit, so that's putting a little pressure on the NASDAQ. But again, is the NASDAQ bottom, right? So if we look at the lows, and somebody mentioned this to me earlier this week, so from the highs to right now, the NASDAQ has been down about 18%, right? And then we recovered a little bit, and then we're back up to about 12%. So again, it did a nice recovery, but is it going to continue lower? Key level is 13,743. Now, we did have some good earnings last week, with a few exceptions of Facebook, which declined dramatically, and also with, I guess it was someone else, I forgot. But Ford, but that's not. So anyway, that's what we're going to be looking at again. So this week, and the event risk on the what are we looking for? Is, again, it's going to be this Wednesday with the 10-year bond auction, which is also conveniently timed with several Fed officers speaking throughout the day. So again, we also have the auction on Wednesday. So you have to watch these auctions and the terms of the auctions. Okay, the other thing too, we have crude oil inventories on Wednesday, which may have a short-term impact on high-flying oil stocks, which also are part of the S&P 500. So remember, these things have been holding up the S&P 500. And then Thursday, we have the most important piece of news around the CPI, right? I think that if there's a good day to finally break out, this will be it. Okay, so probably looking at Thursday. The moves coming out of 30 days will probably be, the most reliable, and will have the most weight and tone for the next couple of weeks. Okay, so this is what I mean. This is probably going to set the tone for the next couple of weeks moving forward on what is discovered right now this week. Again, because after that, earnings are probably we're getting out of the earnings display here. Okay, as far as the, let me see what else we're looking at. Other factors. To summarize, okay, so there is a wall of worry that I'm noticing for the markets at the moment, and while while there is times and there is some new items and some earnings that could come out and could climb these walls of worries, but basically, there are, what I'm noticing on the news, that they're also downplaying a lot of the risks that are in the marketplace. And what I mean by that is this dead cat bounce. Is it going to get followed through or not? And this is what I'm telling you, that most individuals will come out and say, no, things are fine. Google killed earnings. And we're going to go into Google, and we're at the upper range of Google and Amazon. So do they have more juice to go? Don't know, but we'll find out. All right, so this is what you got to ask yourself. What the so-called names of the XLF, the XLE, and the XL has kept the S&P 500 from sinking so far, right? So do you think it's time for some growth names like XLK to take charge, right? And if we do see 4,748 print again, but not until then. So we'll see. So the only thing that we have is that can hold up the S&P 500 is it Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Apple, right? And they're going to have to pick up the slack for Facebook and Netflix, right? Do you think they have it to, again, to keep it up for the next couple of weeks? So two main scenarios here. We're probably going to see a move on Thursday. I would suspect probably, we're going to trade in this range on Monday and Tuesday, and then a resolution will probably come until the end of Thursday after the CPI news. So that will be after the market opens, and then we'll be prepared for that. So again, key levels to watch is going to be 45 and 36 on the upside and 44.50 on the downside. All right. And that's what we have as far as earnings this week. We have a few of them. We have, let me see. Oh, Palantir is coming out this week. We have Twitter and CME. Okay, so let me look into that. But let's go into, as far as the S&P 500, this is the hourlies. This is the 15-minute time frame. As I said this early in class, that we are in a perfect situation for an up or down move. But I think we're probably going to stay in this range of 44.50 and 45.40 or 45.36, right in there, which was the range that we've been in the last couple of days. So again, anything's possible. We'll trade the move, and we'll see what happens. But I think a break above that could signal the market's bullish, and we can probably ride it up for a short term, or the market's going to come back down. I'm kind of leaning more to the bearish side, but again, I'm just keep an open mind and get ready. Get your calls and puts, like I showed my class today. have ready. Get calls and puts. Keep an open mind and look for the signals. Look for the order flow. Look for the momentum start building. Okay, so that's going to be the trade for this week. Stay tuned, but we are setting up nicely. I like the setup that we see. As far as the VIX, the little extra clue that you can give is that the volatility has been pretty high all throughout the week. It's not dying down. Okay, our volatility last week was about 29 to about 20. So again, key levels to watch as I put it here for the week. If we go above 26, we're probably going to start declining. If we definitely break 29, we are definitely going to decline. So again, we're going to breach the bottom bracket. If we start breaking below this level of 22, 28, or 20, then we could possibly go a little higher. But again, I'm more biased to the bear side, but I am keeping an open mind, and I have my alerts ready and keep ready. This is what's alarming, and this is going to be the auction on Wednesday. So again, the 10-year note, it's at 1.93. The 30-year note, it's a little bit higher to above 2. I think it's closer to 3 now, or 2 point something. But just watch it. High yields, we're going to have to pay close attention to what is about to transpire for the next couple of weeks, because this is going to set the tone. Okay, as far as just to get it out there, I'm noticing BTC is trading opposite of the S&P 500. This is something very notable. I don't know if this has relevance yet. We'll find out tomorrow at the open. But the BTC or Bitcoin is breaking out right now, and we called this. I said, look, MACDs are coming up. We have some headwinds to break out. It's really close to that 50-day moving average. What I would like to see, I would like to see this coming back down and then break through, so we have a base forming, don't chase, and then it's breaking through. So that is a probability that could happen, and the MACDs are about to break zero, so that becomes a bullish bias for Bitcoin coming pretty soon. Okay, now in the back and the previous times, and I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm going to suspect it does. MicroStrategy trades along Bitcoin. So if you see Bitcoin breaking out, then it's probably time to go long MicroStrategy. MSTR, MicroStrategy is at 391, was at 920. So if Bitcoin starts climbing, this could be another play for you to lock in some gains on MSTR. So watch that one. Watch Bitcoin. Ethereum's rallying as well, and let's see what happens there. Again, big day. I would like it to come back down and break through, and that could be a go for both. Okay. As far as the moves this week, we do have CMG. I'm going to spend time on the moves, and again, CMG right now. So CMG, if we look at the dailies, and we look at the 15-minute time frame. So the dailies right now, CMG last earnings didn't do well, right? So basically, it just with supply chain issues, they raised their prices and they got hit pretty hard. The stock was trading at almost 1950, and now it got shellacked back down to 1200. So what's going to happen this earnings play? So don't know what's going to happen, but stay tuned on Wednesday. I'll probably get a better idea of how it's acting to see which way, maybe for a lotto trade. But right now, CMG, there's a lot of buyers coming in. We set this trade up on Friday. I know a couple of you guys did take the trade, but did very well. And again, just very simple, following the rules, broke the 50, broke out this 1471, and then just took off to 1500. So again, weakness right now, let it die down. We'll figure this out tomorrow morning, but this is something where we're going to be looking at. We're also going to be looking at Twitter. Twitter announces this week as well. So Twitter, okay. So now Twitter is trading around $37, right? It has a new manager who, well, now he's still unproven, but historically new management gives stocks a new lift, especially if it's temporary. So again, but it's a good product. Now the thing with Twitter is that, it has bad governance and also has lack of solid monetization policies, right? But I think that the company is far better positioned to monetize versus other similar platforms. Okay, so what I mean by that, so if these guys come out with earnings and suggest that there is a possibility that they could monetize Twitter, because there is such an abundance use of Twitter and people do utilize it, that it could fare very well moving forward. Now, anything's possible. Don't know if that is in the works, but Twitter got hammered as well, and it's basing. So Twitter is one of these companies that is probably trading about 50% value to where it was trading, right? So again, So here's the thing. If Twitter is trying to hold here, and this is what I'm noticing, right, on the dailies, it's trying to hold. Now, it's a little basing pattern. It looks like it's probably going to stay in this range around 38 to 32, but let's see, right? And if it starts breaking above 38, it can probably start trading around $46, $48. Okay, so maybe we'll look at that for maybe a possible lotto trade if the options are fairly cheap. We also have Palantir trading. I know that's a big stock amongst a lot of individuals. Palantir. But again, just been hammered. And again, Palantir has a lot of great contracts, a lot of great technology, but it's just, I don't think that it's hitting the private sector yet. Even though it is good for a long-term investment, but short-term, I think it might go a little lower. It does have earnings coming up. All right. So as far as anything else, that's all I have at this moment. Again, just want to share myself with the XPX and the NDX and what we see ahead. Just be careful if the market starts. It doesn't matter what stocks we're in, but if the market starts declining, it doesn't matter. It's going to take down everything with it. So again, be careful. We're going to be looking at Google because that's something that we traded. But again, Google, even though it's great and it had great earnings and it ran up, but again, we're at the upper range of 3,000, and it's not going to hold that so far on Google. So just know that that's pretty hard. We're at the 50. What happens tomorrow, we'll figure out tomorrow morning. So watch it, but 3,000 is going to be pretty hard. And I just want to share this with you. We are in a range here. So again, this is the bottom range. This is the upper range on Google. Same thing on Amazon. Amazon, again, recovered, but it's at the 50-day moving average. Is it going to have time to go a little higher? Maybe, maybe not, but we'll see. Anything is possible. But if the overall market starts declining, it's going to take down these guys as well. These are guys that did extremely well on Friday, the last week. As far as Facebook now, and I want to discuss this, Facebook might head lower, guys, because Facebook is meeting a lot of restrictions, especially in Europe. And there was an article that just came out, and I don't have it with me, darn it. But basically that stated that they might be pulling out of Europe. Okay, that's big, because if they pull out of Europe, then more than likely, Facebook will probably drop about another 25% if that is true. Okay, so as far as Facebook, a couple things with Facebook, number one is trying to compete with TikTok, for a short video segment. And then, and let alone they think that Meta is the way to do that. But it's not going to happen, right? Meta's now, they were now investing heavily, like $50 billion a year in the so-called metaverse, right? So again, and it's not even ready. So their ad sales are diminishing. So again, so watch Facebook. I don't think that, this has done declining. There's probably going to be little pumps here, but again, just be careful. And this is why this is probably going to put added pressure on the S&P 500. All right, guys, that's all we got. I try to make this short and sweet, but again, I will have more for you tomorrow. I will have more for you tomorrow morning. Right now, the futures are trading at, let me see, where am I? Futures. So this is the reopening. This is the headline that's coming up. For futures right now at 44.73, which puts us right at 44.73 is going to put us right in there. Okay, so again, right at that 44.50. So I think we're going to probably stay in that range for a little bit. That's all we got, guys. So again, stay tuned. I'll be sharing my trades a little bit more specific, especially with my class, because they know that we had a very successful class, and they're starting to finally get the nits and grits of how we put these pieces together. And now it's just about managing position and being active with it. But again, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you. And stay tuned. It is now 10 p.m. Stay tuned for tomorrow morning, because anything can change. But I just wanted to give you the levels for the week. All right, guys, take care. Have a good night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning at the Morning Brew at 8:30. All right, guys, take care. God bless. Bye-bye.